Normandy, June 8, 1944, 0615 hours. Obersturmführer Klaus Dietrich, commanding the 2nd Company, 12th SS Panzer Division, stands in the cupola of his Panzer IV, watching 12 armored vehicles advance through the hedgerow country south of Carentan, where Wehrmacht doctrine considers infantry anti-tank capabilities limited to vulnerable close-range magnetic mines and marginally effective anti-tank rifles. His company carries orders to eliminate American paratroopers isolated behind German lines. Soldiers the SS considers poorly equipped and incapable of stopping German armor with infantry weapons alone. What Obersturmführer Dietrich cannot possibly know, what no German panzer commander could imagine in their tactical calculations, is that American infantry squads now carry a shoulder-fired rocket launcher capable of penetrating 5 inches of armor at ranges up to 300 yards. A weapon developed in absolute secrecy and deployed without German intelligence detecting its existence until combat reveals its devastating effectiveness. Within 2 hours, the M1A1 bazooka wielded by American paratroopers hidden in Normandy hedgerows will transform German armored tactics from aggressive infantry support to cautious advancement under constant threat, demonstrating how American weapons innovation has created portable anti-tank capabilities that rendered traditional panzer doctrine suicidally obsolete in close terrain.
Intelligence reports in Obersturmführer Dietrich's map case describe American infantry anti-tank capabilities based on North African and Italian campaign observations that suggest limited effectiveness against German armor. German intelligence assessments, compiled by Fremde Heere West under Colonel Alexis von Rone, catalog American infantry weapons including the M1 Garand rifle, 30 caliber machine guns, and 60mm mortars, but contain no references to portable rocket launchers capable of defeating panzer armor. These intelligence gaps reflect American operational security surrounding bazooka development and deployment that successfully concealed the weapon's existence from German reconnaissance throughout 2 years of combat operations. The M1 bazooka, officially designated Launcher Rocket Anti-Tank M1, entered American service in November 1942 during Operation Torch in North Africa, yet German intelligence services failed to identify the weapon system or assess its capabilities despite numerous combat encounters. What German panzer crews operating in Normandy cannot comprehend is that American infantry squads now deploy with weapons specifically designed to defeat German tank armor through shape-charge warhead technology that concentrates explosive force into armor-penetrating jets of superheated metal. The M6A3 rocket warhead, containing 1.59 pounds of pentolite explosive formed into a precisely engineered cone, generates penetration capabilities exceeding 5 inches of homogeneous armor plate through the Monroe effect that German scientists understand theoretically but haven't anticipated in American infantry weapons. The mathematical reality hidden from German tactical planning is that American bazookas can penetrate the side and rear armor of every German tank except the Tiger and Panther's frontal plates, creating infantry anti-tank capabilities that transform close-quarters combat from German armored advantage to American infantry ambush opportunities. The Panzer IV's side armor of 30mm, the Stug III's 30mm side plates, and even the Panther's 40mm side armor all fall within the bazooka's penetration envelope at combat ranges. German panzer doctrine, developed through Eastern Front experience against Soviet anti-tank rifles and field guns, assumes infantry anti-tank threats require close approach to within 50 yards for magnetic mine attachment or Molotov cocktail throwing. The concept of infantry engaging tanks effectively at 300-yard ranges with portable weapons exists in German tactical manuals only as theoretical concerns about future weapon developments, not as operational reality that American engineers have created and deployed throughout Normandy.
German confidence in June 1944 rests on 3 years of armored warfare experience, demonstrating panzer superiority over infantry forces lacking adequate anti-tank weapons. The 12th SS Panzer Division represents elite German armored formations equipped with battle-tested tactics, superior crew training, and proven armored vehicles that dominated Eastern and Western Front engagements through coordinated infantry armor operations. Obersturmführer Dietrich commands experienced crews averaging 18 months of combat service,
veterans who survived Kursk, Kharkov, and multiple defensive battles where German armored tactics proved devastatingly effective against Soviet and British forces. His Panzer IV crews operate vehicles mounting 75mm KWK-40 guns, capable of destroying any Allied tank at combat ranges while protected by frontal armor that standard infantry weapons cannot penetrate. German tactical doctrine emphasizes aggressive armor employment, supported by mechanized infantry who clear anti-tank positions, while panzers provide mobile firepower against enemy strongpoints. This combined arms approach proved highly effective in terrain allowing maneuver warfare, with German armor achieving consistent tactical victories through superior coordination and crew proficiency despite frequent numerical disadvantages. The Panzer IV itself represents German armored engineering optimized through combat experience, with the Aussif H variant mounting improved armor protection, reliable mechanical systems, and main armament capable of engaging targets effectively to 2,000 yards. German crews train extensively in gunnery, tactical coordination, and battlefield maneuver through programs emphasizing professional military excellence over mass production methods. Hauptsturmführer Werner Stahl, commanding Dietrich's supporting platoon, has participated in tank-versus-tank engagements across multiple theaters where German optical superiority, crew training, and tactical coordination defeated numerically superior opponents through systematic application of professional military skills. These combat successes created confidence that German armor maintains decisive advantages over American forces considered inexperienced and inadequately trained. What German intelligence services failed to detect was the rapid American development of infantry anti-tank weapons through systematic application of scientific research to tactical problems identified during pre-war planning. The bazooka's development began in 1941 when Colonel Leslie Skinner and Lieutenant Edward Uhl at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland, combined existing rocket motor technology with shape-charge warhead principles to create portable anti-tank capabilities for infantry forces. The breakthrough came when Uhl realized that mounting a rocket motor on a shape-charge grenade and firing it from a simple tube launcher could provide infantry with standoff anti-tank capability without the weight and complexity of conventional anti-tank rifles. Working in an Aberdeen Proving Ground workshop during May 1942, Uhl constructed prototype launchers from standard electrical conduit tubing, creating a weapon system that could be manufactured using existing industrial capacity without specialized production facilities. The shape-charge warhead technology, based on Swiss physicist Charles Monroe's discoveries about hollow charge explosive effects, concentrates explosive force through precise geometric design that transforms detonation energy into a high-velocity jet of superheated metal and explosive gas. This armor-penetrating jet, traveling at velocities exceeding 25,000 feet per second, pierces steel armor through kinetic energy and thermal effects that overwhelm armor protection through physics rather than brute explosive force. American metallurgists and explosives experts refined the shape-charge design through systematic testing at Aberdeen Proving Ground, optimizing cone angles, explosive compositions, and standoff distances to maximize armor penetration. The M6A3 warhead, finalized in early 1943, achieves consistent penetration exceeding 5 inches of armor plate through precision manufacturing that maintains critical dimensional tolerances in the copper cone liner that forms the penetrating jet. The launcher design evolved through combat feedback from North African operations, with the M1A1 variant incorporating improved electrical firing systems, shoulder stocks, and optical sights that increase accuracy and reliability. American industrial capacity produced 476,628 bazooka launchers and 15,603,000 rockets between 1942 and 1945, demonstrating manufacturing scalability that German industry could not match for comparable weapon systems.
As Obersturmführer Dietrich's Panzer Company advances through Norman hedgerows toward reported American paratrooper positions, his crews follow standard tactical procedures developed through years of combat experience. German tanks maintain tactical spacing, coordinate through radio communication, and advance with mechanized infantry screening approaches to identify and suppress anti-tank positions before armor exposure. Dietrich's battle plan assumes American paratroopers will defend using conventional infantry weapons supplemented by mines and possibly towed anti-tank guns that require detection and suppression through coordinated tank infantry operations. His tactical doctrine emphasizes rapid maneuver to close with enemy positions before anti-tank weapons can achieve effective engagement, using panzer mobility and firepower to overwhelm defensive positions through aggressive assault. German tank commanders scan for anti-tank gun positions that require static emplacement and clear fields of fire, threats that German tactics can counter through suppressive fire and flanking maneuvers. The concept of infantry soldiers hiding in hedgerows with portable weapons capable of defeating panzer armor at 300-yard ranges doesn't exist in German tactical threat assessment because intelligence services haven't identified such weapons in American inventory. Meanwhile, 800 yards ahead in positions carefully selected for optimal bazooka employment, Staff Sergeant Robert Henderson of the 101st Airborne Division's 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment coordinates anti-tank ambush using 3 two-man bazooka teams positioned in hedgerow concealment overlooking the narrow farm road German armor must traverse. Henderson, a veteran of training exercises emphasizing bazooka tactics, has positioned his teams to achieve perpendicular shots against German tank side armor at ranges between 100 and 200 yards. American tactical doctrine for bazooka employment emphasizes concealment, patience, and targeting vulnerable side and rear armor rather than heavily protected frontal plates. Henderson's teams occupy positions offering clear fields of fire while providing escape routes through interconnected hedgerow passages that allow displacement after firing. Each bazooka team carries 6 rockets, sufficient for multiple engagement opportunities against German armor constrained by terrain that prevents rapid maneuver. The contrast in tactical preparation reflects different assumptions about infantry anti-tank capabilities, with German forces expecting to identify and suppress static anti-tank positions, while American forces plan ambushes exploiting portable weapons that can engage from unexpected directions without revealing positions until firing. By 0730 hours, Obersturmführer Dietrich's lead elements approach the ambush area Henderson has prepared, with German reconnaissance reporting no evidence of anti-tank guns or prepared defensive positions visible from available observation points. German confidence increases as terrain reconnaissance suggests American forces occupy defensive positions lacking the clear fields of fire necessary for effective anti-tank gun employment. Dietrich orders his lead platoon forward along the farm road constrained by hedgerows that German crews consider favorable terrain, limiting American observation while channeling German advance toward known enemy positions. His Panzer IV commanders traverse turrets to cover suspected strongpoints while maintaining radio communication for coordinated fire and maneuver against identified threats. The mechanical sounds of German armor approach Henderson's position as 12 Panzers advance in tactical formation with infantry screening forward approaches. Henderson observes through binoculars as German tanks maintain standard tactical spacing, their commanders visible in open cupolas scanning for threats consistent with conventional anti-tank weapons requiring static emplacement. American bazooka teams remain concealed in hedgerow positions as German armor closes to optimal engagement range, with team leaders using hand signals to coordinate simultaneous fire against multiple targets.
Private First Class Eugene Mitchell, Henderson's lead bazooka gunner, aims his M1A1 launcher at the lead Panzer IV side armor, now visible at 150 yards, the optimal range for shaped charge warhead effectiveness against armored targets. The moments before engagement demonstrate the tactical revolution about to unfold, with German armor operating according to doctrine assuming infantry anti-tank capabilities limited to close-range weapons requiring visual detection before engagement, while American infantry prepare to employ weapons specifically designed for ambush tactics in terrain favoring concealment over observation. At precisely 0742 hours, Henderson signals his bazooka teams to fire, and 3 M6A3 rockets simultaneously launch toward German armor with distinctive whooshing sounds that German crews have never heard in combat. The rockets, trailing white smoke contrails, streak toward their targets at 265 feet per second, while German tank commanders react with confusion rather than alarm to weapons they cannot immediately identify. Private Mitchell's rocket strikes the lead Panzer IV's right side armor at perpendicular angle, the shaped charge warhead detonating precisely 6 inches from the armor surface to maximize penetrating jet formation. The copper liner collapses into a hypersonic jet that punches through 30mm side armor like tissue paper, the superheated metal and explosive gases penetrating the fighting compartment where they ignite ammunition storage and hydraulic fluid. The Panzer IV erupts in secondary explosions as internal ammunition detonates, the turret lifting slightly from hull before settling back as flames pour from hatches. German crew members who survive initial penetration evacuate through commander's cupola, their uniforms burning from internal fires that no damage control procedures can suppress. Obersturmführer Dietrich, commanding from the 2nd Panzer IV, watches his lead tank transform from operational combat vehicle to flaming wreck in 3 seconds through attack method his tactical training never addressed. His radio crackles with confused reports from other tank commanders, describing infantry rocket attacks from concealed positions, weapons German intelligence never briefed and German doctrine provides no countermeasures against. The 2nd and 3rd bazooka shots strike additional Panzer IVs with similarly catastrophic results. Shaped charge jets penetrating side armor to detonate internal components and create fires that force crew evacuation. German mechanized infantry, trained to suppress anti-tank gun positions through coordinated fire and maneuver, cannot locate American bazooka teams firing from hedgerow concealment that allows displacement before German return fire. Within 5 minutes, Henderson's bazooka teams destroy or disable 5 German armored vehicles while suffering no casualties, demonstrating anti-tank effectiveness that German tactical doctrine considered impossible for infantry weapons. The remaining German armor halts advance as commanders confront threat assessment requiring complete tactical revision based on weapons capabilities their training never anticipated. Hauptsturmführer Stahl, attempting to coordinate German response, orders infantry forward to locate and suppress American anti-tank positions using procedures developed for combating anti-tank guns requiring static emplacement. German infantry advance cautiously toward suspected firing positions, only to discover American bazooka teams have displaced through hedgerow passages, leaving no equipment or personnel at original firing positions. The mobility advantage of portable anti-tank weapons becomes apparent as Henderson's teams reposition to alternate firing positions while German forces search hedgerows for anti-tank guns that don't exist. American tactical doctrine for bazooka employment emphasizes shoot-and-scoot tactics, impossible for towed anti-tank weapons, but perfectly suited to man-portable launchers weighing only 13 pounds. German tank commanders, trained to identify and engage static anti-tank positions through coordinated fire, cannot develop effective countermeasures against mobile infantry anti-tank teams that appear from concealment, fire accurately at side armor, and disappear before German return fire.
The tactical paradigm has shifted from armor dominance over infantry to mutual threat, where infantry can destroy armor through weapons German doctrine never anticipated. Private Mitchell, repositioning with his bazooka team to secondary firing position, observes German armor attempting to maneuver away from threatened area while maintaining all-around security against threats that can appear from any hedgerow. The aggressive German armored tactics that proved successful across 3 years of warfare have become suicidal in terrain where American infantry deploy portable weapons capable of defeating Panzer armor from concealment. As reports reach German higher headquarters describing American infantry rocket launchers capable of destroying Panzers from concealed positions, tactical officers confront weapon systems that fundamentally alter infantry armor combat dynamics. The intelligence failure becomes apparent when tactical units report weapon capabilities that German intelligence services never identified, despite 2 years of American combat operations. Oberst Kurt Meyer, commanding 12th SS Panzer Division forward elements, receives increasingly desperate reports from subordinate units describing systematic armor losses to American infantry weapons that attack from unexpected directions with penetration capabilities exceeding German intelligence estimates. Meyer's tactical doctrine emphasizes aggressive armor employment that becomes increasingly costly as American bazooka teams demonstrate ability to destroy German armor consistently from hedgerow concealment. The mathematical reality becomes inescapable as German armor losses mount through June 1944 Normandy fighting, with tactical after-action reports documenting that American infantry bazookas account for 35% of German tank losses in close terrain where concealment favors defenders over advancing armor. This casualty rate indicates weapon effectiveness that challenges fundamental German assumptions about infantry anti-tank capabilities. German technical intelligence teams recover expended American bazooka launchers and rockets from battlefield positions, analyzing shaped charge warhead design and launcher systems that represent American weapons development German scientists understood theoretically but never anticipated in deployed infantry weapons. The technical analysis reveals American metallurgical precision and explosive expertise, creating armor penetration through physics rather than explosive mass. Feldwebel Hans Kruger, commanding a Panzer IV destroyed by bazooka fire near Carentan, describes the psychological impact of surviving attack by weapons his training never addressed. Kruger evacuated his burning tank after shaped charge penetration ignited ammunition storage, watching 3 crew members die from internal explosions before they could escape. His subsequent combat operations reflect constant anxiety about threats that can appear from any concealment without warning. The trauma extends beyond physical casualties to psychological impact on German tank crews who previously operated with confidence that infantry weapons posed minimal threat to armored vehicles. German tankers begin avoiding close terrain where hedgerows provide concealment for anti-tank ambush, limiting tactical flexibility and creating psychological advantages for American defenders who leverage German caution. Private Mitchell, credited with 3 confirmed Panzer kills during Normandy operations, represents American infantry empowered by weapons that transform tactical dynamics from armor dominance to infantry parity. Mitchell's training at Fort Benning included extensive bazooka instruction, emphasizing optimal range selection, target identification, and displacement tactics that proved devastatingly effective against German armor constrained by Norman terrain. The personal contrast illustrates how weapons technology shifts tactical advantage, with German tankers whose professional training and combat experience provide no defense against American shaped charge weapons that defeat armor through physics rather than tactics. Mitchell, with 6 months of military service and no prior combat experience, destroys German tanks crewed by veterans of 3 years Eastern Front combat through technological advantage that transcends individual skill or experience. By mid-June 1944, American infantry divisions throughout Normandy deploy bazookas according to tactical doctrine developed through North African and Italian combat experience. Standard American infantry rifle companies operate with 3 bazooka teams at company level, plus additional teams at battalion level, creating anti-tank capabilities distributed throughout infantry formations rather than concentrated in specialized anti-tank units. This organizational approach, unique to American tactical doctrine, ensures every infantry unit possesses organic anti-tank capability without requiring dedicated anti-tank gun support. German formations, by contrast, concentrate anti-tank capabilities in specialized units that must deploy to threatened sectors, creating response delays and organizational complexity that American bazooka distribution eliminates. The tactical flexibility of man-portable anti-tank weapons becomes apparent as American commanders employ bazookas in diverse roles, including anti-fortification fires, bunker suppression, and even anti-personnel applications using white phosphorus rockets developed specifically for psychological effect against enemy infantry. This versatility reflects American weapons development philosophy, emphasizing multi-role capabilities over specialized single-purpose designs. Captain James Harrison, commanding Company E, 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, coordinates bazooka employment across defensive sectors, covering approaches to critical road junctions German armor must control for tactical success. Harrison positions bazooka teams according to terrain analysis, identifying optimal firing positions, offering concealment, clear fields of fire against armor side aspects, and covered withdrawal routes through hedgerow networks. As German tactical commanders accumulate combat experience against American bazookas, doctrine evolves to emphasize infantry reconnaissance preceding armor advance, all-around security during movement, and immediate suppressive fire against suspected infantry anti-tank positions. These tactical adaptations reduce German armor effectiveness by requiring cautious advance that sacrifices speed and aggressive maneuver for survivability against ubiquitous anti-tank threats. The doctrinal changes reflect German recognition that American infantry anti-tank capabilities fundamentally alter tactical calculations, requiring complete revision of armor employment doctrine. Aggressive armor advances that proved successful during mobile warfare become suicidal in close terrain, where every hedgerow potentially conceals infantry armed with weapons capable of destroying panzers at ranges exceeding grenade-throwing distance. General Major Fritz Bayerlein, commanding Panzer Division during Normandy operations, issues tactical directives emphasizing extreme caution during armor advance through close terrain, requiring extensive infantry reconnaissance and artillery preparation before committing armor to areas where American bazooka teams might deploy. These restrictions effectively negate German armor advantages by preventing aggressive employment that German tactical doctrine considers essential for operational success. The psychological impact proves equally significant, as German tank crews develop heightened anxiety about operating in terrain favoring concealment over observation. Veteran tank commanders who survived years of Eastern Front combat describe Normandy hedgerow fighting as more psychologically stressful than open terrain engagements, where threats could be identified and engaged at distance, rather than appearing suddenly from concealment at close range. Standoff armor skirts, designed to detonate shape-charge warheads before contact with main armor, disrupting jet formation through premature detonation. These countermeasures prove only partially effective, as American tactics adapt to target areas without skirt protection or employ multiple hits against the same target. The technological response demonstrates the continuous innovation cycle in weapons development, with defensive measures prompting offensive improvements that require new defensive responses. American weapons developers respond to German armor improvements by developing larger 3.5-inch super bazooka with enhanced penetration capabilities, though this weapon arrives too late for significant World War II employment. By late June 1944,
German tactical commanders throughout Normandy confront the systematic reality that American infantry anti-tank capabilities have fundamentally altered armored warfare dynamics in ways requiring complete doctrinal revision. The 12th SS Panzer Division alone reports 47 tanks destroyed or disabled by bazooka fire during the first 3 weeks of Normandy operations, representing 41% of total armor losses, and indicating weapons effectiveness that German pre-invasion planning never anticipated. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, commanding German forces defending Normandy, receives increasingly desperate tactical reports describing American infantry weapons that engage German armor effectively from concealed positions at ranges where German doctrine considered infantry anti-tank threats minimal. Rommel's tactical directives, issued July 2, 1944, acknowledge that American infantry rocket launcher have created anti-tank capabilities requiring fundamental changes in panzer employment doctrine, particularly in close terrain favoring concealment over observation. The implications extend beyond tactical adjustments to encompass strategic recognition that American weapons innovation has neutralized German armor advantages through infantry weapons that cost $100 to produce, yet can destroy $100,000 tanks when properly employed. This economic and tactical equation indicates American industrial capacity applied to weapons development that creates battlefield capabilities through scientific innovation rather than resource expenditure. General Oberst Heinz Guderian, Inspector General of Panzer Forces, reviews tactical reports from Normandy describing bazooka effectiveness and concludes that German armor doctrine developed for Eastern Front operations cannot function effectively against American forces equipped with portable anti-tank weapons distributed throughout infantry formations. Guderian's classified assessment to Hitler acknowledges that the American infantry rocket launcher represents a weapons development we failed to anticipate, creating anti-tank capabilities that challenge fundamental assumptions about armor superiority over infantry forces. The human cost becomes apparent through casualty statistics, showing that German tank crew survival rates decrease dramatically when tanks are disabled by bazooka fire compared to conventional anti-tank gun hits. Shaped charge penetration creates internal fires and ammunition explosions that leave crews minimal time for evacuation, while the close-range engagement typical of bazooka ambushes prevents effective crew rescue operations under fire. Intelligence reports reaching Berlin from multiple theaters during summer 1944 reveal that American bazooka deployment extends far beyond Normandy to encompass all operational areas where American infantry engaged German forces. The Italian theater, where mountainous terrain creates ideal conditions for infantry anti-tank ambush, experiences particularly high German armor losses to bazooka fire that Italian terrain amplifies through limited armor maneuverability. General Lieutenant Fridolin von Sanger und Etterlin, commanding 14th Panzer Corps in Italy, reports that American infantry defending mountain positions employ bazookas with devastating effectiveness against German armor constrained to narrow valley roads where maneuver options disappear and side armor becomes vulnerable to weapons fired from elevated positions. Von Sanger's tactical assessments describe American anti-tank tactics as fundamentally different from Soviet methods, employing portable weapons with precision and tactical sophistication that transforms every infantry position into potential anti-tank strongpoint. The Gustav Line fighting during early 1944 demonstrates bazooka effectiveness in defensive operations where American infantry occupy prepared positions overlooking German armor approaches. Staff Sergeant Jake McNeese, serving with the 509th Parachute Infantry Battalion near Anzio, personally destroys 6 German tanks and self-propelled guns using bazooka fire from concealed positions in stone buildings overlooking coastal roads where German armor operates with limited maneuver space. German tactical responses include increased use of indirect artillery fire against suspected infantry anti-tank positions. But the mobility and small size of bazooka teams makes artillery suppression largely ineffective compared to static anti-tank gun positions that require substantial emplacements. American tactical doctrine, emphasizing shoot and scoot employment, allows bazooka teams to fire from one position and displace to alternate locations before German artillery can engage effectively. The psychological impact on German tank crews operating in Italian terrain becomes acute as every stone building, rock outcropping, and roadside position potentially conceals American infantry armed with weapons capable of destroying tanks from unexpected directions. This constant threat environment creates cumulative stress the German commanders describe as more psychologically damaging than open terrain combat, where threats can be identified and engaged at distance.
German tactical officers analyzing American bazooka effectiveness inevitably compare American infantry anti-tank capabilities with Soviet weapons development that followed different design philosophies emphasizing lighter anti-tank rifles and towed anti-tank guns over portable rocket launchers. The PTRD-41 anti-tank rifle, while effective against early war German armor, cannot penetrate Panzer IV side armor reliably at combat ranges, creating tactical advantages for German armor that American bazookas eliminate through superior penetration capability. Soviet attempts to develop similar shape charge infantry weapons produced the RPG-43 anti-tank grenade, requiring close approach to within throwing range and creating tactical situations far more dangerous for Soviet infantry than American bazooka employment at 300-yard standoff ranges. This technological gap indicates American weapons development advantages through systematic scientific research that Soviet industry cannot match, despite larger overall military production. Major Dmitry Lavrenenko, Soviet tank officer seconded to study American weapons systems through Lend-Lease programs, reports to Soviet military leadership that American bazooka represents qualitative advantage in infantry anti-tank capabilities that our forces lack, creating tactical options for American infantry that Soviet troops cannot duplicate with available weapons. Lavrenenko's assessment recommends immediate Soviet development of comparable weapons, leading to post-war RPG-2 programs that directly copy American bazooka design principles. The comparison extends to tactical employment doctrine, where American emphasis on distributed anti-tank capability at squad and platoon level contrasts with Soviet concentration of anti-tank weapons in specialized units that must deploy to threatened sectors. American organizational approach ensures every infantry unit possesses organic anti-tank capability without requiring central coordination or specialized support, creating tactical flexibility that Soviet rigid unit structures cannot match.
Feldwebel Hans Kruger, having survived his first bazooka encounter near Carentan, returns to combat operations with profound changes in tactical approach, reflecting psychological impact of weapons that challenge 3 years of combat experience. Kruger describes constant anxiety about operating in terrain where hedgerows, buildings, or vegetation provide concealment for threats that can destroy his tank without warning from ranges his training considered safe from infantry weapons. The psychological transformation extends throughout German panzer forces, as veteran crews who survived years of Eastern Front combat describe Normandy hedgerow fighting as uniquely stressful due to omnipresent infantry anti-tank threats that can appear suddenly from any concealment. This psychological disadvantage multiplies American tactical advantages by creating hesitation and caution among German tank crews whose aggressive tactics proved successful in open-terrain warfare. Private Eugene Mitchell, credited with 5 confirmed Panzer kills through July 1944, represents American infantry empowered by weapons that create tactical parity with armored forces through technological innovation rather than numerical superiority. Mitchell's combat experiences include destroying Panther tanks, whose frontal armor American 75mm tank guns cannot penetrate reliably, yet side armor remains vulnerable to shaped charge warheads fired from concealed infantry positions. The mathematical reality becomes personal when Mitchell's bazooka team ambushes German armor attempting to reinforce positions near Saint-Lô, destroying lead and trail vehicles to trap remaining tanks in a confined road section where methodical engagement eliminates 7 German tanks in 15 minutes. This tactical success, repeated across multiple sectors throughout Normandy, demonstrates how portable anti-tank weapons transform infantry defensive capabilities through technological advantages that negate traditional armor superiority.
American bazooka production demonstrates industrial capacity applied to weapons manufacturing with efficiency that German industry cannot match despite similar technical understanding of shaped charge principles. By August 1944, American factories produce 40,000 bazooka launchers monthly while simultaneously manufacturing 1.2 million rockets, creating supply abundance that ensures every American infantry unit operates with adequate anti-tank ammunition regardless of expenditure rates. The logistics network supporting bazooka operations extends from American factories through Atlantic shipping to forward ammunition dumps that maintain 3-day supply levels at battalion level, ensuring American infantry never face ammunition shortages that limit engagement opportunities. This logistics depth contrasts sharply with German ammunition conservation requirements that restrict engagement decisions based on supply availability rather than tactical necessity. Corporal James Wilson, serving as Battalion Ordnance NCO with the 29th Infantry Division, manages bazooka rocket distribution that delivers 200 rounds weekly to forward companies regardless of expenditure rates. Wilson's logistics procedures, standardized across American forces, ensure consistent ammunition availability that allows American infantry to engage German armor opportunistically without conserving ammunition for anticipated future requirements. German logistics officers analyzing captured American supply documentation express amazement at American ammunition distribution systems that treat bazooka rockets as routine infantry supplies rather than specialized anti-tank ammunition requiring controlled distribution. This logistical philosophy reflects American industrial abundance that transforms ammunition from carefully rationed resource to expendable supplies that tactical situations determine usage rather than supply constraints. As summer 1944 progresses, American tactical doctrine for bazooka employment evolves through combat experience that refines engagement techniques, position selection, and team coordination. The FM 2330 Field Manual, updated August 1944, incorporates lessons from Normandy fighting emphasizing optimal range selection at 100 to 150 yards for maximum penetration reliability, targeting priority against side and rear armor, and immediate displacement after firing to avoid German suppressive fire. Captain Harrison, now commanding Company E through multiple defensive operations, develops bazooka employment tactics that integrate anti-tank teams with machine gun positions and mortar support to create coordinated defensive systems. Harrison's tactics emphasize using bazooka teams as mobile reserve that deploys to threaten sectors based on German armor approach routes, creating flexible anti-tank defense that static gun positions cannot provide. The tactical sophistication extends to specialized employment, including urban warfare where bazooka teams occupy upper-floor positions for plunging fire against thin tank roof armor, demonstrating weapon versatility that extends beyond anti-armor roles. American forces employ bazookas against bunkers, fortified buildings, and even infantry positions where shaped charge warheads create psychological effects through visible destructive capability. German tactical countermeasures evolve simultaneously, with revised armor employment doctrine emphasizing extensive infantry reconnaissance, artillery preparation against suspected anti-tank positions, and limiting armor operations in terrain favoring infantry ambush. These adaptations reduce German armor effectiveness by sacrificing aggressive employment for survivability, essentially conceding tactical initiative to American forces whose infantry anti-tank capabilities constrain German armor options. By September 1944, cumulative bazooka effectiveness creates strategic consequences extending beyond individual tactical engagements to encompass fundamental changes in German operational planning. The requirement to limit armor employment in close terrain reduces German tactical flexibility, while increasing reliance on defensive operations that American material superiority can overcome through sustained pressure. Field Marshal Walter Model, commanding German forces during Allied autumn offensives, confronts operational realities where American infantry anti-tank capabilities prevent effective German armored counterattacks in terrain favoring defenders. Model's operational planning must assume American infantry positions represent substantial anti-tank threats, requiring extensive preparation before armor commitment, creating delays that allow American forces to consolidate tactical gains before German counterattacks develop. The implications extend to strategic resource allocation as German industry attempts to develop countermeasures, including thicker armor, standoff protection, and infantry anti-tank weapons comparable to American bazookas. These development programs consume resources and industrial capacity that might otherwise support tank production, creating additional strategic advantages for American forces whose bazooka deployment forces German industrial responses that divert capacity from offensive weapons production.
The bazooka's impact on World War II infantry armor combat extends beyond immediate tactical effects to establish principles that influence post-war weapons development globally. Soviet RPG programs, British PIAD improvements, and German Panzerfaust deployment all reflect recognition that infantry anti-tank capabilities require portable, easy-to-use weapons with sufficient penetration to defeat contemporary armor at tactically useful ranges. The shape-charge warhead technology pioneered in American bazooka development becomes foundational for post-war anti-tank weapons, including wire-guided missiles, rocket-propelled grenades, and eventually man-portable anti-tank guided missiles that dominate late 20th century infantry anti-armor combat. The Monroe effect principles that enabled bazooka penetration remain central to contemporary anti-tank warhead design despite significant advances in armor protection technology. Technical Sergeant Mitchell, reflecting on his combat experiences during post-war interviews, describes the bazooka as the weapon that made German tankers fear American infantry, acknowledging how portable anti-tank capability transformed tactical relationships between armor and infantry forces. Mitchell's assessment captures the psychological dimension of weapons innovation, where technological capability creates mental effects exceeding physical destruction through systematic threat that constrains enemy tactical options. Statistical analysis of German armor losses during Northwest Europe campaign indicates bazookas account for approximately 30% of total German tank casualties in close terrain, with percentages exceeding 50% in urban and hedgerow combat, where infantry ambush opportunities maximize. These casualty rates indicate weapon effectiveness that German pre-war planning never anticipated, creating tactical advantages for American infantry that complement rather than replace conventional anti-tank guns and tank destroyers. The economic calculation proves equally significant, as bazooka launcher production cost approximately $100 per unit, while rockets cost $18 each, creating cost exchange ratios heavily favoring American forces when $118 weapon systems destroy German tanks costing $100,000 to produce and years to manufacture. This economic warfare dimension indicates American industrial capacity applied to creating weapons that achieve strategic effects through technological innovation rather than resource expenditure matching German production. German military leadership, analyzing defeat circumstances during post-war interrogations, consistently identifies American infantry anti-tank capabilities as significant factors constraining German tactical options throughout Northwest Europe campaign. General Oberst Alfred Jodl acknowledges that American portable anti-tank weapons created infantry capabilities we failed to anticipate, limiting our armor employment effectiveness and contributing to overall operational defeat through cumulative tactical disadvantages. The human cost transcends statistics through individual experiences of soldiers on both sides who confronted technological innovation that transformed warfare dynamics in ways neither side fully anticipated at campaign outset. German tank crews who survived multiple bazooka encounters describe permanent psychological impacts from combat experiences, where training and experience proved inadequate against weapons that challenged fundamental assumptions about armor protection and infantry capabilities. American infantry who employed bazookas remember the weapon as equalizer that transformed tactical relationships with German armor, creating confidence that infantry forces could engage successfully against tanks through proper employment of portable weapons that tactical doctrine integrated throughout unit structures. This psychological dimension proves as significant as physical destruction through creating mental states where American infantry operated confidently while German armor operated cautiously, inverting traditional psychological relationships between infantry and armor forces.